What's up, guys? Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I am Boser, and welcome to your Monday Night Geek Out Sesh. I'm excited. I'm happy to be here. I hope you are excited and happy to be here, too. I hope your week has been going fantastic, all one whole work day of it. But since the last time, we've had a great time. We unveiled our very first real episode of our City of Mist campaign this last Thursday. So if you missed that, go ahead and check it out on our YouTube and podcast channels. And then speaking of this, we'll also be on podcast and YouTube. And so if you are listening back or watching, thank you. We love you. And if you're joining us live in the chat here on a Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, welcome. Like Cantina 13 is here. Welcome, Cantina. If you are in the chat, make sure you sound off. Let me know you're here because we are your place to geek out. We are your judgment positive free. I was going to say judgment positive free, but we are judgment free and positive place to geek out loud about cosplay, about writing, about streaming, about creating content, about D&D, about tabletop RPGs of all kinds. We don't discriminate, just like Cantina 13 doesn't either. They're number one place for free TTRPG resources. Check them out. But if you're here, I want to know the question of the day. Use that command QOTD, which is, what is something that you struggled with as a kid, but you kind of rock at now? And the reason I'm kind of curious about what happened as a kid to now is my guest tonight is not only an amazing human being, not only an amazing writer, but also a literal childhood friend of mine. I've known this person longer than I've known any of you, and longer than I've known anyone else in this channel. It's been a minute since we caught up, and so I'm really excited to hang out with him tonight. But you're going to meet him in just a sec. So let me know, what's something you struggled with as a kid, but now kind of rock at? For me, I wouldn't say, kind of rock at is maybe a strong term, but I would say just anything regarding athletics. I always sucked at as a kid, and I was last picked in gym. I was last picked on recess, and I just never thought that I could be or would be good at anything physical, throwing, running, jumping. But as I got older, I kind of broke through that mindset and started working out, and amazing how those two go hand in hand. And now you're kind of better at those things. Wow. Thank you for all the positivity in the chat. Cantina 13 says negative only, followed by fuck you. And then Alex says, you suck at sports. So I'm loving all the love here in the chat tonight. Cantina says, but depending on how young we go, between now and infancy, I fucking rock at feeding myself and standing on two legs. Wow. We are all so proud of you. So proud. I can't wait to have you back on to the show to talk about that journey, because that must have been so much. What's up, Decent? Here's my question. How does it feel to know how good looking T is and how we all just have to deal with that? You not only have to just deal with it, I have to be compared to him side by side every time we play City of Mist on Thursday nights. Like, people can just see the comparison. It's so easy, and it's so not fair. So I don't know how we deal with it. I eat my feelings. Hello, Alec, my favorite person and Patreon subscriber, says Cantina. Great. So we're just all shitting on Boser tonight in the chat, but that's fine. I'm used to it, because while I sucked at getting bullied as a kid, I rock at getting bullied now, especially on my show. But I want to know about my guest, because if you do not know my guest tonight, James Wylder, he is not only a sci-fi writer, he is a poet. He is a true Whovian. He is actually one of the first people in my life that showed me what geeking out loud looked like. And whether I showed it at the time, I have always kind of kept him in my mind as I've gotten older and leaned into this geeky shit and realized, wow, I wish I was more like Jim my whole life. And so I'm really excited to hang out with him. Does timeout chatter work on mods asking for a friend? I don't know. Let's try it, Decent. But y'all have heard of him now. Get ready to meet him. Give it up for my friend for way too long, James Wylder. Welcome.
Hello.
How's it going, Jimbo?
It's going good. I'm excited to be here. I mean, No, you gave me like such a huge build up here. I'm just like, oh, great. Now I've got to meet those expectations. Oh.
Now let's just disappoint the shit out of him, huh? What do you say?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I can do that. I can do that.
Ken, Tim, thank you so much for being here. I've wanted to have you on the show for a while because not only of what I just said about my deep-seated feelings about admiring who you are as a human my whole life, but also you wrote a book over a decade ago that I've always been so curious about. And then since then, you've wrote so many more. So we're going to talk all about all of those books tonight, as well as what it is to be a writer in this day and age, what it is to be a sci-fi writer and a poet, and be doing all this multimedia shit that you're doing at this point in your life.
I'm ready.
You ready? Well, first I got to know the question of the day. What was something that you sucked at as a kid and kind of rock at now? And I don't know if you lie because I saw everything that you sucked at as a kid.
Oh, you're gonna know how much I sucked at this. I sucked incredibly as a kid at acting because I was a gullible and sincere child.
You so were.
You could prank me just without trying. You could prank me on accident because I just took everyone at their word so seriously, and I just like couldn't lie.
It was so endearing, though. And I think we had that in common. Like, we both were pretty naive, gullible kids. We thought the world was a happy, wonderful place.
Yeah.
For the most part. And then we grew up.
Just turn right into the camera and look in. Because, yes.
And then we realized the world is a dark, cold, unfeeling place where your dreams go to die. But let's talk about how you became a writer.
Yeah, okay. Great transition. Oh,
but you know what I actually think about all the time?
Okay.
Is, which is really cool for you, is something else that you kind of sucked at, and not to out you on it, your handwriting. Okay. You remember your handwriting?
I do. Yeah, it's actually on my notes here.
Is it really? Well, sorry to jump to that already.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, okay, so in fact, one of the reasons that I discovered I wanted to be a writer was because my handwriting was so terrible, just atrocious.
Atrocious.
It's so bad. So they would take me out of class, and I had to like sit and like write lines where I had this like weird rubber thing to like force my hand into the.
I remember it.
Yeah.
It was almost like a. God, just like a. Sometimes they would put like grips, like cushy grips to just help, but yours was really big and misshapen just to get your fingers to go where they should go, right?
Yeah, sure was. Yeah. And so eventually they were just like, here, have this thing called an Alpha Smart. Do you remember that?
I remember it. It was back in our day. We didn't have laptops or iPads. This was like high tech in the time.
Yeah, it was just a keyboard with an LCD screen that was like that big. And you typed on it, and it could only store 10 documents of 10,000 words. And so you just kind of like had to like go between documents if you had something really long and split things up. But that was the first time I was really able to like write and like have other people experience it. Because before, my handwriting had been so bad. Like I'd write something, I'd show it to someone, they'd be like, that's great. Because
like none of us could read your writing, and none of our teachers could read your writing.
Yep, that's true.
I just think that's so interesting that like within your mind, you had stories and brilliance and genius, but it was getting stopped at paper and pen.
It really was. Yeah. So yeah, oddly getting that device really opened me up. Like I was able to tell these stories, and I was able to show them to other people, and other people actually like respond to them and get feedback, both like good and bad, about what I was doing.
Right.
Yeah. So you were there for that transformational moment in my life.
I remember reading through on this like inch thin screen reading like your book or your first short story and thinking, holy shit, is this actually what was, except I was in middle school, so it wasn't holy shit, it was like, oh my poop, because I was such a good kid.
Gee.
Gosh, gee. It's just being shocked that all this was in your brain. But I wasn't too shocked because previously we had been, like, I'd come over to your house as a kid and we'd play, remember our Lego War?
I do remember that.
We spent like 3 weeks prepping everything we could with our Legos, and then we met at your house for a giant war, which I don't even know how you do that without rules or Legos.
I don't know. It seemed to make sense at the time.
It was so much fun, though. And that's how I realized that all Lego men's bodies, the lower half, look like turrets if you just rip off their legs and you put them all over your ship.
That's true. That's true. Oh,
I had about
like
40 different guns.
The whole front porch I'd like built into like a Lego city.
Yeah!
It taken so much time.
By the way, thanks Cantina for stopping in and trolling me. It's my favorite Monday tradition at this point. But yeah, do catch the rest on YouTube or podcast, and we'll be in the chat where we can continue to draw each other through the coals.
Thank you, Cantina.
Isn't our community just the best, Jim? Isn't it just the best?
Just wonderful. I mean, I've only known them now for like 14 minutes, but I'm already endeared.
You can just tell that they're so full of love and passion and just support everything you do. And I'm trying to tear you down actively while you are having an interview. It's just golden. It really is.
I feel the love in this Chili's tonight.
It's so special. In this Chili's, yeah. that took me a half second. Another thing that you first introduced me to, which I'm going to give you credit for, is tabletop RPGs.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember opening, like, it was like a Star Wars RPG. And it had all the characters there, and I'd never been to that world. I didn't know how to play. I never played that game, but we all made characters at a sleepover at your house one night. We never played. Hey, Audex Ficta! Thanks for being here. You're right. Those trolls aren't the only ones here. You are here, and you are amazing. Thanks for the follow. I only give them shit because they give me shit, and it's all out of love. Do you know Audex?
I do. I'm excited to see them here.
Oh, good. I love when our guests have people that they know in the chat, so they're not alone. You're right, Alec. You're not a troll. You are a troll / mod. And you give us love. But yeah, you introduced us first to RPGs, and it took me, I don't know, 18 years later that I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll actually play one.
Yeah, you did play one with me though. It was a different sleepover.
We had a lot
where we all made like I made up this fantasy world, and we didn't have a rule book, so I just was like winging the rules as we did it. And you made like this character, and you drew it. I think I still have the drawing in like a folder or a box somewhere.
You don't.
Of this like big. I do. I mean, I'm not gonna like stop the stream and go out and dig it up, but I have it.
Find it later.
Okay. And it's like this big like fuzzy guy. I remember it looked like it was like an ogre with like a horse head kind of thing.
I remember this. Yes! It was an anima. He could like tap into a spiritual like nature spirit, animal spirit, which I think was like a bear thing. And it was so cool. Yeah. Why? Oh my god, I'm today years old when this memory is coming back to me actively right now. Yeah, that was so cool.
Oh, yeah, no, that was really fun. That was... So I really enjoyed that because I was like just with all these friends. I think the only one who had actually played an RPG like
probably.
Before. But I just like led us through this impromptu adventure I just like came up with on the fly. It was a real good time. It was, I think, yeah, we were just in the basement there.
Your sleepovers were the best. They were full of N64, Star Fox for literally 6 hours straight.
That's true.
Lots of Mountain
Star
Dew.
Fox.
Jim, we need to hang out more. Let's have another sleepover and just do all that again.
Gosh, yeah. Now I'm just like I'm feeling good. I'm feeling nostalgic. Jeez.
I am. It's feeling fuzzy all over, and I can't stop thinking about that anima. It was like anima, animus, one of those two. Anyway, we're here to talk about you and not just our memories. We'll do that later.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But if people don't know already, tell us a little bit of who you are and what you do as a geek.
Okay, well, I'm James Wylder, as has been said a few times now. I'm a writer, an author, a publisher, an editor, and a podcaster occasionally in the past.
What a loser.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm also a giant nerd, obviously.
Lifelong.
I have involved just so many hobbies and fandoms, as previously mentioned. Love tabletop role-playing games, play lots of them. I spend way too much time when I'm not doing that, like on my Xbox. So, you know.
I love that you just have these props right in front of you.
I came prepared.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
Thank you.
See, look, already Alex is asking when you're going to be on City of Mist. We were talking a little bit pre-stream about how our love of tabletop, and he's been playing a long time, and yeah, every so often we have guests come on for arcs, so we might be in touch, Jim.
I would be interested in this, yeah.
You wrote books.
I did.
Tell us, I'm going to show your website a little bit. Is that okay? If I show your site where
Yeah, go for it.
People can use Command Jimbo.
Oh.
And it can take you straight to this site.
I like that, Command Jimbo.
Yeah. We're super high tech around here. I don't know if you've noticed. But this is your site where you can kind of get anything about Jim that you want, including his books. You can support him on Patreon. You can go to his blog. So as we go through this, tell us a little bit about some of these books that we're seeing. Like this one you have at the top seems like you're trying to draw attention to it.
Yeah, it's also reminding me I need to update my website because I've written so many more books since I last, put these on here.
Seriously?
But that one at the top I'm really proud of. 10,000 Thoughts, Poor Man's Iliad. So that book, it's really long. It's kind of like a brick.
Okay.
And I managed to get a bunch of amazing guest writers for it. I got Nathan P. Butler, who wrote for Star Wars Tales comics. Tim Sutton, who did Marble Hornets, and Simon Bucher-Jones, who wrote Doctor Who. And
no way!
I was just like, yeah. And so my whole idea with that book was I was trying to tell a big, epic, long sci-fi story, but across a whole bunch of different perspectives and a long period of time. So it's all short stories, and each one kind of like progresses the narrative forward, but like through a different viewpoint, up until you get to the end where it all comes together. And it took way too much work because I was like, it's one of those things where you just go into it like super young and ambitious, and then you just realize like I have committed myself to a like 1,000-page book. But it's great, and I think that it's well worth people's time if you want to like really dig into something of that length.
And how did you get to collaborate with such amazing writers also?
So I'm gonna tell you a secret here. It's a big secret that I think that it's gonna be giving away a lot of my tricks here. Okay. What I did is that I went and I found the people I wanted to write for the book, and then I emailed or Facebook messaged them and offered to pay them money.
Wow. See, that's where my wheel falls off. I only just ask. I never have a cash money behind it. That's what I'm missing.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I just offered them a pretty good rate for their story, and I told them like about the project and why I was passionate about it, and they were all willing to give me a shot. So it worked out.
Yeah, Audex says pro skills. Wow, you are an expert
Pro skills.
negotiator. Who knew?
I
No, but that's
know.
amazing. What made you want to try to work with them specifically?
So some of them I already knew I had like a sort of enough of a connection that like if I reached out to them, it wasn't just going to be like a rando coming out of nowhere. Because I had some mutual friends who knew Simon Bucher-Jones. I'd interacted with him like a little bit, like on Twitter, but we weren't like pals or anything.
Right.
Nathan P. Butler, I'd worked for the publisher who had published him.
Okay.
Yeah, because I worked for Grail Quest Books for a few years back in the day.
I remember seeing that.
Like, they published a bunch of his work. Yeah. And then Tim Sutton, I had no connections with, and I was just a fan of. So that one was a reach. But I mean, now I know them all, and they're all friends after we've worked together, which is nice. Tim Sutton makes great pulled pork, as I've learned.
That's so
I wish
cool.
I could make pulled pork that good. I know. Everyone thinks of him as like this guy who's been in horror stuff, and whenever I think of him, I'm just like, that pulled pork he made that one time.
But how cool is it? Like, if you could look back, if you could go jump in your own TARDIS and go back to small little Jim and tell him that one day he's going to be working with writers from Star Wars, from Doctor Who, what would he say?
Well, God, I varied back and forth as a kid from being like extremely pessimistic and being like way too cocky. So depending on the day you asked me, I probably been like, "Oh, really? I can't believe that. That's so great." Or I would be like, "Yeah, that's right. Of course I am." But,
Did I miss your cocky days? I've never once pictured you as being a cocky person in any way, shape, or form.
I was only cocky about writing.
Okay.
So it was like the one thing where I was like, I knew I was good enough at it that I realized that being down on myself about it was like a waste of everyone's time, which is kind of a weird way to think about it.
No, that's actually a brilliant thing. Like to not only admit, but like say out loud and acknowledge.
Yeah, like at the time, as I've kind of learned, and since like, seen like a therapist and gotten like medication, I was having some depression issues at the time.
Okay.
Which, like, yay, medication, it's great, really makes your life better. But for some reason, just that one thing, everyone was so consistent about like the feedback I was getting on what I was writing, that it kind of just became impossible for me to deny it to myself that I was good at it.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like I kept getting all these opportunities with it, and that just wasn't happening with like other things in my life. Like I could, I was doing like, I did lots of sports in high school, and I mean, it was mainly like cross country and track, but I went hard at them and sucked. I sucked so bad, but I worked my butt off and got nowhere.
Yeah, which is disheartening.
Yeah, and it does leave you with this feeling like, like, can I actually do anything? Like, if I put in all my time and effort, am I going to get anywhere? And when you find something where you're doing it, and even when you're not like putting your whole heart into it, you find you're moving forward, that can really like be heartening and something to latch onto. And that was it for me, definitely.
That's really just brilliant to hear out loud, because I'm trying to think of all these interviews that I've ever done now. That's never once been said, that thing that like, it's a waste of time to not feign humility or be cocky about it, but so often we just keep telling ourselves that we're not good enough at yada, 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 but that there's something in all of our lives, and I hope that all of us have found something in your life that you just
Mm-hmm.
have a natural skill. You just are passionate about it. You're just good at it. And to stop not acknowledging the fact you're good at it. You said it so much more
Yeah,
eloquently than I
definitely.
did. That's why you're the writer, but that's how I had to say it out loud in my own mind.
Yeah, no, well, thank you, thank you. I'm glad I was able to articulate something like that.
No, that's really cool. So, how old were you when you
Yeah.
had that realization?
Oh, that is a good question. Um, I think it didn't come like all at once. It wasn't like
Sure.
one day I like woke up and was like, of course, this is the thing. I think it came gradually, but if I had to nail down one point, I think it was in college when one of my professors wanted to put on one of the scripts I'd written for his class,
Mm-hmm.
and he just approached me. I didn't do anything about this. I hadn't actually been interested in writing for theater. I'd only taken the theater writing class because I needed it to get a creative writing minor. Um,
Been there, done that with the dance
and I
minor.
found out, hey, yeah, and I found out I was like good at it. In fact, part of what I learned is in the class you're supposed to write a full-length play over the course of the semester, and I took the class twice and did it twice, and the class wasn't actually graded on if you finished the play because most people didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like most people got like half of it done,
Okay.
but they didn't tell you that going in.
It seems like you should probably finish it though.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
it's
assignment.
well, yeah, but it's just like a lot more work than everyone expects it to be,
Okay.
because you end up, you have to structure the play, and if the play isn't producible, you're going to go through the scenes in class over and over, and the
Yeah.
professor is going to just like knock you down if it's not working. If your first act isn't working, you start over. If your scenes aren't connecting, start over.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're learning to do it, but a lot of what the class was learning that it's difficult, learning that you're not just going to go in and go, oh yeah, I'm just going to like knock this script out because I'm so good. That even if you have talent, that you have to be able to do the grind of writing it and revising it and fixing the structural issues and the production issues, which actually the hardest part of writing a play, as I learned, was just, it's on a stage.
Yeah.
And if you're doing something that people aren't going to be able to do on a stage easily, people aren't going to put it on. You're not a like your play, unless it's like, even if it is like the greatest thing ever, if it's too much to put on, a lot of people just aren't going to do it because,
Right. Nobody has an exorbitant budget. Most of people are
mm,
going to be community theaters, smaller theaters, unless you're Broadway that
mhm.
making this massive hit to be commercialized.
Yeah, and so, you need to think about things like, can you do double casting easily? If you're going to be double casting, where are people going to be changing costumes within the scenes? Are you going to be adding in enough time that you can have someone go from this role to this role and change their costume between it so that someone could actually put it on like that?
Yeah.
And these are things that, I can't say if like every theater writing class was like this, but for ours, they really hammered us in. Like, you need to think about these things. You need to think about the fact that real people are actually going to be doing your play, and it is dependent on the fact that these people can do it and will want to do it.
That's interesting. And I forget that people don't think about those things because I'm trained in theater, so that's my background. And I'm always thinking, well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have enough time, and how would you make the set and the costumes and yada yada. But um, do you feel like your books that you've written, do you feel like they could be staged as plays, or is the sci-fi material like far too much for our human means?
Um, I would definitely have to adapt them
Yeah,
because I don't like, none of them are structured like a play.
sure.
But no, I mean, I think I could do it. It would definitely, I might change the focus of what the story was to put it on the stage. But I mean, just like thinking about it in a vague hypotheticals, um, like let's just take an example here. My first novel was called 10,000 Dawns, and it's about
Okay.
this girl named Graylin, who she's a teenager and she gets to be part of this experiment where she's an intern and discovers that this experiment is trying to make holes into other universes, and everything goes wrong, big disaster, and she gets thrown into this other world. But she discovers that in this world, she has grown up as an adult to be the most hated person on Earth, and quite rightly so. And the question she has to grapple with is this who I have to be as a person?
Uh-huh.
Can I change and be someone else who I actually like and want to be? Or is there just no way I'm going to get away from this person who I turned out as here? And I think those kind of character questions are like universal. Like you could put that on a stage. You might have to strip away like, you know, the sci-fi visuals of it, but when you get down to like the core aspects of characters, I think that stuff can, as long as it's good, can move across mediums.
Yeah, as long as it's, I mean, as long as it's relatable, right? That's really what all of us are seeking, is to read a story that we can connect with, that tells a piece of our story, even if it's set into the future in a sci-fi universe, which I love.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mentioned earlier that like your house was always the house to go for Star Wars and for games and for Legos. How has that, if it has, had an effect on the themes which you like to write in?
Well, I think it did, first off, just help that I was really telling stories with you and my other little friends back then, just not writing them down.
Yeah.
And also, when you're doing that kind of like big play with other kids, you learn like other people's perspectives on what you're doing. Because like if you do something with a toy and another kid thinks it's absolute bullshit, can I say bullshit on here?
Yeah. Fuck yeah, you can.
Okay, great. Oh yeah, we were saying fuck earlier in the chat. I was just, I don't know.
It's okay
I
if
don't
they
know why
say
I
it.
forgot this.
It's not okay if you say it.
Okay.
It's different.
Oh, okay. Gosh, gee whiz.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think that definitely, yes.
No, but that's interesting that even as kids, when you're playing, and like even on the playground where you're just like playing superheroes and someone shoots laser eyes at you, you're like, oh well, my skin is reflective, so it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
which is why I hate Superman, by the way, because he is the epitome, in my opinion, of that. Oh well, yeah, well I can do this. Oh yeah, well I can do this. He is the one I'm calling bullshit on every time. But that's interesting that translates into telling stories and like thinking about your audience and how they're going to take it. Are they going to think this is bullshit because I just created the exact thing I needed right when I needed it?
I feel like I got to defend Superman now. My gosh.
It's just, I don't know what sort of triggering thing happened at Roosevelt Elementary, but it did. It was bad.
Oh.
I think I blocked it from my memory. That's why I hate it so much. Yeah, exactly, Audax. Everything you can do, I can do better.
No, I remember those games. That there was plenty of just like, one kid's just like, well, I'm invincible, so I'm gonna win, and then everyone's just like, but that doesn't work we can't really tell a story with you, buddy. Like it just kind of shuts the play down.
It's not play anymore. Like, it's not collaborative.
Yeah, it was way more interesting to play with a kid who falls over dead like every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Especially that kid that fell over dead just for the pure attention. Not me. Never did that once. No, twice. 40 times every day.
Yeah.
So talk to the person that is seeing what you do, seeing that, okay, this guy is a writer, and you're a full-time writer now, yes?
Yeah.
This is what you're doing,
Yes.
and this is what you dreamed of doing when you were a kid. Talk to that
This is
person
true.
that's maybe has no idea where to get started, or needs some encouragement, or needs to help just find the resources to get started.
Well, congratulations if you're getting started now, because there's just a lot more resources than when I got started, which is great. You can really easily find lists of places to submit stories to, just by Googling that. And submitting to places is a great way to get started with writing. Take a look at like just some of the anthologies that are out there that people are trying to get stories for, and always make sure that they're trying to pay you something. A lot of places won't pay you like a lot, because they understand like we're all doing like small scale things, but expect like even if it's just like a token payment of $10, that's kind of just a sign of legitimacy.
Okay, is that a normal amount? $10?
No. If you're just trying to like start it and get credits though with places, like places that are just trying to get started themselves might be paying like that,
Okay.
Like you're not, if you're writing for that kind of publication, you're not getting a big exposure. You're writing for the experience, and they are trying to like build up their own experience editing and publishing. But you want to try to find somebody that is at least willing to like put the token effort up.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously you want to get to a point where you're writing and submitting to places that actually pay you like what you should be being paid. But I do think that some writers stall up on like right when you get started and you're trying to get in places, and you shoot too high right off.
Yeah.
And you just don't have the experience to like get in there. Because like the first places I tried submitting, I was like, I'm gonna get in the New Yorker. And like I'm just like, I'm submitting stuff to these places, and the problem was I didn't really know like what you were supposed to do with a submission, because I hadn't done it, and I hadn't gotten through the failure that taught me what I was supposed to do with a story to get someone to look at it. And it's totally fine to go through smaller places until you understand like what you're doing, and then take a leap up. I guess by what I'm trying to get at here is basically, don't be upset that you're not getting somewhere right off the bat. Like you're gonna take some like times of trying and not getting anywhere, or trying and only getting like little things until you build up to where you actually want to be. And obviously don't stall too long. You don't need to just like go incrementally forever,
right?
But you don't feel like you just need to like jump in the deep end, because you're going to be better off if you do take a few steps and try to go, okay, I'm going to work with some smaller places here. I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. And also, you're going to see like what works with your stories by doing that. And you can take more risks too.
And that's such an important thing that I hope all of you are hearing. Anybody that not only is looking to go into writing, but beginning any sort of journey, is you have to be okay with that failure, even that small failure or big failure, because it's in the long term, that's just experience points you're gaining, right? Like that is a necessary part of it. You can't jump to level 99 without dying a few times and restarting the game and rage quitting.
Oh, looking at the chat here. Hello, Other Jim.
Other Jim,
I just saw that.
Is this a person? Is this a? I'm having a stroke. Do you know Other Jim? Is this another friend of yours that's joined us in the chat?
Yes, yes, I know other Jim. If it's the other Jim I'm thinking of, which I do know several other Jims, but from the username, I'm pretty sure it's another other Jim who I've worked with and who also has written things. So if it's
Well,
them,
welcome, other
hello.
Jim. This is your tabletop group, isn't it? Just a bunch of you Jims sitting around a table gymming about.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. We actually only accept people who are named Jim.
I
One
knew
person
it.
legally changed their name just to get in the group, you know. But
I mean, sounds like a hot commodity. Good. Thank you for that advice for future writers or future beginners of anything. And I just love that you acknowledge that again. You're just like dropping truth
yeah,
bombs and buckets of gold tonight because it's so important that you're not just going to jump to get where you want to be. You have to get through that struggle.
yeah, and yeah, I guess as I was saying, and you were saying, failure is something you got to do with it.
You have to. I just expect to
Like,
fail. I've
yeah,
kind of failed a lot most of my life, and I've
mhm,
just learned that it helps me learn, or it helps me realize what I just shouldn't be doing and do something else.
exactly. Yeah,
Which is nothing wrong with that.
yes,
You
it
can't be good
is
at everything.
the gym. I thought Indiana Jim.
I've just got a
Exactly.
great
Yeah.
hat.
As I he does, he does.
Um, when you are hitting that failure in your personal writing career, where was the support system that you turned to help get you back on the horse or to help you learn from those mistakes? Because none of us live in a vacuum and we shouldn't be doing any of this by ourselves. So, where did you go?
Yeah. So excuse me.
No, you're so
Yeah.
okay.
So no, no, I just like oh, I don't know what's going on with that throat. But
Someone's force choking you
so
from the
my
chat.
yeah, it's
What
a
are you talking? You're a
struggle.
great actor. What are you talking about?
I used to be terrible though.
And look, you grew
You
from that failure.
I did grow. Yes, failure taught me well. But to answer your question, which I was not trying to stall on, so I have some friends who I can usually trust with showing my work to, um, and it's always great just to be able to have like feedback on it from people, and it's also great because when I do suck, at least I have some context on it.
Okay.
And along with those friends, I have like my family, who's always been really supportive. My grandma Edith, back in the day, she was always very encouraging in my writing, and she's no longer with us, but like I've like held that with me,
Yeah.
over time. Um, and I have a whole bunch of other writers who, since I've worked with them over time, we've stayed in touch, and we're able to support each other through all of our different releases. And sometimes you do just fail. Sometimes you can write something really great and just no one reads it. Can't get people to read it, and occasionally someone will, and they'll just be like, "This is amazing," and you're like, "Thank you.
I
I
know.
wish I had made money."
Yeah, that's got to be so frustrating. That's how. That's my next question:
It's
is how
so
do you get
frustrating.
people to read the books? But continue on this answer.
Oh yeah. So eventually you just kind of like you gotta like accept that some things that you're doing, um just the fact that you made them is worthwhile, and that you're writing something that you yourself can be proud of.
Why did that just hit me in the gut? The fact that just because you did it is worthwhile. Because
Yeah.
you're preaching to the choir tonight, man. We just live in a society,
Mhm.
especially in this
Yeah.
content creation society where the number one job that the next generation wants to be is an influencer, where everything you do matters and everything you do then either gets you something, whether that's a paycheck or it's influence or it's following, attention.
Yeah. Yes.
And it feels like we are coming away from this idea that you create something just because you want to create it. And even if nobody knew about it and even if nobody else liked it, it would be worth something because you had the idea and you created it.
Yeah.
But I struggle with that.
No, I get you. Like, okay, I have worked on some things which have sold well. And, you know, I'm not gonna like name them because I'm not good, but I didn't do them because I really wanted to. And those are the things that I really look back on, kind of with you know the most ill feelings. And it's not even that they even like they didn't always even turn out bad. Sometimes it turned out pretty well, but you know, I just like I spent all this time on something I just don't care about.
And they were the ones that sold better.
Not always. I mean, like occasionally. You know,
Okay.
it varies, but like sometimes it did, and especially it's easy to focus in your head when you write something you care about and you write something you don't, and it goes like that. Then you like overlook all the times it's the opposite because
that's true.
you know, but you know, like looking back on it, like those things that I spent all that time on, I have way more regrets about those things than I do about things that I cared about that were failures, which is weird.
It's weird if the paycheck and I guess the attention you got from your writing was your main goal. Then yes, that would be weird. But clearly, it's not.
I need paychecks. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Oh, and yeah, like in a lot of ways, like I understand, like I kind of had to do those jobs. Like I probably wouldn't have paid bills if I hadn't done those books at the time.
Right. Sometimes it's just the necessary evil.
Yeah, which I think that's a big thing about like being a professional writer that's like difficult to communicate is if you're not like signed with like Hachette or whatever. And even then, even if you are, like sometimes, you know, you meet writers who are on big name labels and they're not doing as well off as you'd kind of expect. But that you're gonna have to like accept that you're not always gonna be doing what you love with it, because you know, writing is a job, and unless you're doing it as a hobby, which is fine. Like you want to do writing as a hobby, like great. Like, in many ways, I envy you. I envy you so much because you can just do what you want with it. But if you're gonna go pro, you have to accept that you might just be doing something because you need to eat and you need to pay a bill. And if you can't accept that you're gonna have to write something that you just don't care about at all and still put your freaking heart into it as much as you can despite that, you know, you're not going to be able to like keep going as long as you'd like. And that it's unfortunate, but it's just like a reality of it being a profession.
Right. Thank you, Bumble Jen, for stopping in. Hi, good to see you. She says, as long as you are passionate at what you do, don't give up on it. Bumble, thanks for stopping in. Jim has been dropping some like real necessary truths, not only about writing, which he can speak very well of, being a published author and publisher for his actual bill-paying job, but also all of these lessons that we're talking about can be applied, in my mind, to all kinds of arts and all kinds of content creation. And even this, like what I'm doing here on this channel, like sometimes it's hard just to remember to have a good time and do it for the fun of it. Don't think about, I'm a marketing person, so I always think, okay, well, how can we use this to launch us towards more attention or more this or more that, when it's actually so peaceful just to rest in knowing that I don't care if anybody's watching this. I get to geek out with somebody new every Monday, and it's a good time. And I'm so grateful for all you in the chat that do tune in regularly, and especially those that tune in literally every single week. Like, you sometimes are the only reason that I continue to do this shit. Because I'm like, well, they are into it, so I guess today I'm going to do it because it's for them. But that's part of just like kind of the grind of it at times, like you were saying. Bubble Jet says, I can totally tell you I suck at writing and I wish I was stronger at that, so I'm jelly right now. Well, make sure you go back and either watch the VOD or watch it on YouTube or podcast, because he was literally giving you some like breakdown steps on here's how you get started, here's some resources. Don't give up. Let's show your books one more time.
Also, I got a note.
Yeah. Go ahead. You said you got a note.
I forget what it was now that we moved. My bad.
On my end, there's a bit of a lag. So I'll like ask a question and then it will be a few seconds and then I think you hear it. So it's my bad habit of trying to fill the space so there's not dead air, but then I'm inadvertently cutting you off.
That makes sense.
So my apologies that I've been doing that to you all night. But this is...
So there
yes.
There at the bottom.
Yes,
There's
yes,
a great
yes.
example of... See, that is my spoken word poetry album, which I recorded professionally in a sound studio. We did all this work on it. It's so good. It sounds so good. Just this massive flop. Like I ordered like these CDs of it. I was gonna like sell them at the conventions and bookstores I was at. We're gonna, selling it online. It's still on Bandcamp,
Okay.
But oh god, it just nobody bought it.
Well, I'm gonna go buy it now. I'm gonna put it on as my sleep timer, and I'm gonna fall asleep to your voice every single night.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's really good, but it's just one of those things where it just didn't connect with people, even though I like really cared about it.
But you had a good time doing it.
I did really enjoy doing it. I'm still really proud of the work we did on it.
Good. Hi, John. Welcome to the chat. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. We're here with James Wylder, my personal childhood friend that we were having some nostalgic moments in the start of the chat, but now he's just like giving us everything that we need for life and for writing. Bumblejen does have a question for you, Jim, though. Out of all the books you worked on, which one was the most enjoyable for you?
Oh. Most enjoyable. That would probably once again be probably 10,000 Dawns, my first novel. That was just really rewarding because I did it first as a serial story online. And getting to have readers react every week and get excited for what was going to happen next week. It was just really fun. And, getting to go through and have like the story beats I was doing week to week pay off and people just react to them in real time. It was an experience I just really treasured. And I'd love to do that again in the future.
Yeah, your next book.
Because, just to have... Yeah. So yeah, it was probably 10,000 Dawns. People really connected to the main character of that one too, which helped, which was also really rewarding. So,
and that had to be such an encouraging moment that your first book connected so well with people to help you launch forward in excitement for the next several, right?
Yeah, because at that point I'd written some plays and I'd written poetry, but I hadn't, and some short stories, but I hadn't taken the jump to a novel, and so it was kind of this moment of like, can I do it?
Uh-huh.
And thankfully I did.
You did.
So.
You needed that encouragement boost and confidence boost to launch you into the full-fledged career writer that you are now. I'm proud of you. I'm impressed. I'm proud to call you my childhood friend. This is why I'm just bragging. I did nothing but exist down the street from you.
No, oh, come on. I'm proud of you too. Come on. You're doing all this amazing theater stuff. You've got your own show. I see you on the television set.
It's local news. It's nothing. Really, it's nothing. The 40 plus gamer said 10,000 Dawns was a really neat universe to play in. Does he mean as like an RPG? Did you like expand into an RPG or just like
no, he
read around and pop
Indiana Jim wrote a story for the sequel to Poor Man's Iliad, which still hasn't come out yet because I sort of got busy with a lot of things, which maybe I'll talk about in a second. But also, I realized in the stack of books I have over here, this Indiana Jim, you're in here.
Ooh, is that called?
Yeah, this is actually. Yeah, this is our latest book we just put out, which is actually a reprint of an old book series, but it's one of my biggest fandoms. It's actually based on a card game from like 2005 that nobody bought, but we got the license to it and got to tell stories in the universe. Indiana Jim wrote one of the 3 novellas in here, which is very good.
Super cool, Indiana Jim.
Yeah. So we're going to be putting out more with that universe, and I'm very excited because this is a rare case of me getting to be like a huge fan in real life, getting to like take this kind of obscure thing and hopefully bring it out in front of more people's eyes.
Alec wants you to read a page.
Read a page?
Yeah, just pick a random page and read it.
Of like anything?
Or if you'd rather, if you have like something short, like a poem that you'd like to share. We didn't talk about this beforehand. So you feel free to say, no. Go buy a book.
No. Go buy a book. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I have this book like in my hand.
Okay.
So.
Wow, we're getting James Wylder writing firsthand.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now.
Yeah. So, one thing we added with these new editions is we added an epilogue to the books to kind of tie them together better from the original release.
Okay.
So, this is the first chunk of the epilogue.
Okay.
Yeah. The title of the epilogue is 4 Meetings and a Funeral. This is meeting 1, the Ebon Gate. You knocked on the door 5 times, then recited the passcode to the man who pulled the slit aside to look at you. Of course, they'd already seen you in Servants' Hollows, but this was part of the aesthetic. They had already done the security check on you, but because it made you feel like it was an old-style speakeasy, you were willing to pay more on the drinks. Ebon Pride had to admire the hustle, even if the girl doing it was too young to be running the joint. Not that it mattered when it was already illegal. "What are you doing here, Pride?" the gruff voice called through the slit. "Here to see your boss. It's important business." The slit shut. There was a fake pause as they pretended to debate letting her in, and then she was finally granted entrance to the Cogworks Import Lounge. The soft carpet felt good to walk on, even through her combat boots, though the ambiance would have felt nicer if the men at the door hadn't removed her weapons, which they'd assembled in a sizable pile in a box next to the door. Her gaudy black jacket, littered with golden writing, matched her most distinctive feature, the eye patch from under which a series of long scars slipped out. "You know, you could just get a cybernetic one," her host said. Her own prosthetic arm and leg shined chrome, glinted off the colors of the lounge's dim lighting. her black flower print dress nearly blending into the booth she was sitting at. This was Geraldine Jackbox McGraw. The gang called the Accords big success test here in breaking onto the Gonjan black market, and the young woman she was here to make an offer to. I'm not a maverick. That sort of thing is your shtick. You know, they make ones that look just like regular eyes, right? No one would know. Pride slid in across from her. I'd know. Crossing her arms, Jackbox raised her chin. You should just get over my boss taking your eye. Raving Red Jane was pretty merciful leaving you alive. Or I was that good. Clearly not good enough. Enough banter. They could clearly be back and forth on this for hours. Pride spread her hands out in front of Jackbox. The Ebon Gate has a fantastic offer for you. We'd like to buy out the Accord's business here. The staff at the lounge started laughing. First slowly, then louder, then growing silent as they saw their boss hadn't changed her expression one bit. Just because you couldn't figure out how to sell illicit goods to sketchy Tenrio party officials like we did doesn't mean you can buy your way out of your failure. We're doing plenty well here, no need for the old school Yakuza and Mafia to get their hands in. This is the Accord's turf. You are doing well. No question. You're smart. If you weren't smart, you wouldn't have clawed your way here at your age. The girl wasn't fazed. She'd give her that. But you've seen what's happening, haven't you? You mavericks are allowed one settlement on Gonjan, Kolakog, and it exists here but by the grace of the Tenryu party. Things are heating up. Do you really think there's going to be a peaceful solution to the political problems here? Kipley Darnell couldn't wear Howard Martin's socks, let alone his shoes. Diplomacy is good as dead. We all know that. Then when the war comes, do you really think you're going to be safe? They stared each other down over the table. The silence lingered as the light shifted to project a story of the inhabitants. Orion's belt shifted across Jackbox's face. The Accord's business is its own. We can protect ourselves. Six-legged George is making the deals for Kolakog these days. Do you really think he'll manage? Jackbox signaled, and two goons came over to the table. I think it's time for you to leave. Tell your bosses thank you, but the Accord has its own business on Gonjan, and we'll mind the register ourselves. Pride shrugged, started for the door without argument, and then turned her head. Hey, it was worth a try, right, kid? Jackbox stood up and watched her leave, stars reflecting off her arm and leg. Everything till now has just been the overture, she called out as the door opened for Pride. I'll see you when the show starts. Pride grinned her gold teeth back at her and stepped out back onto the streets of Takumi. She couldn't help but laugh. She didn't know exactly what was going to happen next as the different factions of the universe stared each other down with clenched jaws. But she knew one thing. It wouldn't be boring.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, now I can't get myself back out. I can't.
Oh,
I can't show myself. Come back.
I'm taking the show now, Dozer.
I knew it. This is all a plot to steal my show. Thank you. That was great. That was the epilogue to War song.
Yeah.
Very cool.
War song preludes.
Makes you want to go buy a book, doesn't it? If you want to, go ahead and use Command Jimbo, and you can go right to his personal website. And all of these books, and not even all of the books, right? Because you said that you need to update your site.
Yeah, I need to put that one on the front page, actually. Yeah. But most of them.
But you can buy his books. You can support him on Patreon. You can read his blog. You can get links to everything else. Learn about James. Ooh, I'm now exploring your site. List of works, appearances, the buzz. Ooh, what's the buzz about James Wylder? James Wylder's plays Cryptos effortlessly combines creatures that go bump in the night with philosophical musings on life, love, family, and death. I'm interested. Bumble Jen has more questions. Love her. If you could tell your younger writing self anything, what would it be? Because we did ask earlier. If you could go back and say you were going to be writing with Star Wars writers and Doctor Who writers, what would you say? But If you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Yeah. I'd probably go back and quite serious, I'd tell a few names of people who I just really wouldn't want to work with. Because, you go through, and especially in the creative, there's a lot of people who are going to offer you the sky, the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you're just starting out, a lot of it just sounds like super appealing. And you're still figuring out who to trust and like what's worth trusting.
Okay.
And so, when I was early on, I made some mistakes, as we all do, and I made a few writing decisions where I worked with people who just ended up not being on the level. And I guess in some ways, I can look back on those experiences and go, okay, I learned a lot from that. But also, I'd kind of just rather skip that if I could.
Yeah. There's lots of lessons that, like you said earlier, you have to go through to fail forward so you can learn from them. And then there's lessons that just punch you in the nuts and you don't need. Yeah. I'm sure we all know. Y'all thought of one just now, didn't you? But Jim, tonight has been great. The night's not over. Because one thing that I do want to talk about as we transition to our game for the evening. That's right, y'all. We are playing a game tonight. A lot of times we don't get to the game because I get too distracted with what we're talking about. But I kind of want to test you on your Doctor Who knowledge. If you've noticed, I've been Doctor Whoing all night long. Which I became a fan late in the game. You were a fan from day one? Well, day one of your...
I basically came out of the womb and my mom was just I was watching Doctor Who from such a young age. I don't know what my first episode I saw was. I can guess, but it's really up in the air. I was not forming memories. My brain was too small.
Which Doctor was it? If you remember.
I don't know. The first story I remember, I think might have been the third Doctor.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but the first one I have a really vivid memory of something was it was a second Doctor story, The Seeds of Doom, and I remember this because, and maybe you remember this partially without remembering the Doctor Who part.
Okay.
But I watched it and I was just so excited about it because in this story, there's this plague of fungal spores that overtakes the earth, and it shows up as soap bubbles. In 2020 hindsight, the special effect is so cheap. But I was just it blew my little tiny brain. So I got my dad's shaving cream. And I built everything with Legos, and I just went to town, and I was in quite a lot of trouble.
But you were excited. You were geeking out.
I really was.
That's cool.
Yes.
By the way, Wild Dan said that reading was so much fun.
Oh, thank you. I think that's my sister.
The wild part kind of reminds me of somebody I know. And good to see you again. It's been a very long time. You might remember me about this tall and a lot more obnoxious. But what we're going to do is we're going to play Doctor Who Pictionary. So if you don't know, Jim has written a book, one of the first books that I think you ever got published, The Eloquence of Time and Space, which was the first book I realized that you had written, and it is a poem for every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 through 2013. That's 50 years, folks.
It's a lot of poems.
So we're going to test that knowledge. I'm going to be drawing some pictures of villains and aliens from those episodes, and you're going to try to guess. I haven't seen any forever, Tater. Yeah, and it's been a minute. But I think we all need to get back together. I'm kind of hurting for some Wylders in my life. I didn't realize the gift you were when I had you down the street, and now look at me. So I'm going to share this. Audex says episode or story, Jim?
Oh, story. I considered trying to do that, and then there was a point where I was like rewatching the episodes to get in there. I was like, oh yeah, this classic Doctor Who story like repeats the same plot 3 times because they needed to fill space. And then I was like, no, I'm just gonna do story. For the new series, I actually did every episode though, because they were different enough that I could manage that and not go utterly mad. So that worked.
Did you write all those poems from memory, or did you have to go back and jog your memory what the episodes were about?
I had to go back for a lot of them. Some of them I just like had such a vivid memory, I just went and did it. And if I found I was trying to write it and I didn't have inspiration, then I would go and rewatch it.
Okay.
Would you like me to read one of them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One more reading here. It's a pretty short poem, but this is the one for the episode "The Girl in the Fireplace," which people seem to like.
Okay.
I was just a girl before a real mademoiselle, circumventing the heating system with fairies for chimney sweeps, who rolled away into the future on clockwork hands. Now I am a pompadour in circumstance, still wound around fate, a net weight on your heart of the warmth I waited for, around an empty hearth you should have inspected again.
Hey, She Anime Podcast! Thanks for the raid right after Jim's great reading of his Eloquence of Time and Space, his Doctor Who poetry he wrote for every episode and story from the last 50 years of Doctor Who. Thanks for stopping in. She Anime, that's so funny because I was thinking, well, when we're done, we're going to raid you because isn't it your birthday today? But we are about to play Doctor Who Pictionary, where I'm going to draw, Jim's going to guess. All of you can also guess with me and with him.
Right.
So I found... Oh, by the way, John thought that poem was incredible. I do remember that episode, too. So I found Doctor Who Wiki, and I pulled a lot of characters from these. I don't know who all of them are. I know who some of them are. Because, like I said, I was a kind of late bloomer in Doctor Who, and I watched a lot of 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah. Oh, if you went like on a deep dive on the wiki and you're like pulling out a character from like one of the handful of licensed Doctor Who stories I've gotten to pen on, I'm just gonna be like, if I don't like remember it, it'll be so embarrassing.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay if you suck at this because you'll do better than I will. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start drawing. You can kind of talk through it. I'm drawing. I don't have a pen and paper. I'm drawing with like a finger and a mouse. So that's only going to make it worse.
Okay. The Circulions.
I don't think so. Hey, Kate, thanks for the sub, Cat. Yes.
Hey.
Ooh, Audex says Slovene. No, it's not Slovene. Wait, I gotta reference them. Ooh, I'm drawing it bad. I'm drawing it bad.
I was right there with you.
Oh shit!
Audex.
I X'd it out. I didn't mean to. Hold on, I gotta get back to it.
We're just gonna you're gonna pull it up. It's gonna be a totally different image, and you're just like, oh yeah, I've been working on this for quite a while here. I'm just actually very talented.
I mean, I am. What are you talking about? No, I've got a ton of tabs open, and this little X hit bigger. But no, that's wrong. I don't want that. I don't want that. It really should look like this.
All my tabs just so I could try to get a clear stream here to make sure the internet wasn't too bad.
John says adipose. No, not adipose.
Is it the cactus people?
Probably. It's not what they're named. Do you remember what they're called?
Oh, God bless the cactuses. No, I don't. Oh.
Yeah, it's... I guess I don't have a way to show you. Are you thinking of the Saurians? Or the Ice Warriors?
Oh, the ice. Oh, I wasn't, but that would also make sense as an answer.
They kind of look like cactus people. They're green.
I was thinking of the cactus people, the green cactus people from the last David Tennant episode.
Oh!
And Wilf goes, "God bless the cactuses."
It's not the like reptilians from the center of the earth, is it? They're actual cactus people?
No, those are the Silurians.
There it is.
The
Yeah.
green people from the center of the earth.
There we go. It was a 6-pack that did it for Audax. That's how they knew.
Yeah. That...
Okay, so Ice Warriors out. We didn't get that one, but that's okay. Let's try. Here you go. I bet you can get this
My
one.
problem is I'm going to be saying too many deep lore things, and I'm just going to like...
Okay, let's see. Let's try it this way.
Let's do this. Jadoon!
Yeah!
Jadoon
It's the
platoon on the
Jadoon!
moon!
Holding their...
No.
Yes, it's a Jadoon. Hi,
Excellent.
Oceana. I was just talking about you earlier, actually.
Hello, Oceana. I've heard so much about you.
All good things.
Yes, all good things.
Yes, good job. It is the... Is it J-U-D-O-O-N? Jadoon.
You got it.
That was too hard. Excellent drawing of a Jadoon. Why, thank you so much. I practiced. All right, so there you go. You win back your Whovian title. You nailed that in a few seconds flat. Well, now I'm going to go a little harder because I don't want to do something that you might get right away. Here's one that I didn't know, but I think it's from a little slightly older.
All right. Circle. Twilight Sparkle.
I have to keep
Is
going.
it the Candyman?
Shit, you're good. Damn. That was really fast.
Oh damn! I wish I'd let you. I wish I'd let you go longer, because I mean I want to see you draw the Candyman. So please continue.
Yes, this is the Candyman. Tell us about the Candyman for those that don't know, because I don't know anything about it.
The Candyman is part of an excellent Seventh Doctor story called The Happiness Patrol, and in that episode, they're in a society where you have to be happy. And if you're not happy, they will punish you until you are happy. So of course, no one is actually happy. And the Candyman is like the enforcer, basically. He's entirely made of like big, like licorice, all sorts candy pieces, and he makes candy that kills people.
This is why I love Doctor Who. It just like takes a seemingly innocuous concept and just puts it on its head. But in a way that's like, that could happen. The way that we're going, that probably is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But Audax got it with you, said Candyman. And John says, side note, unrelated, but Martha Jones doesn't seem to get nearly enough love.
I agree.
Who's your favorite companion?
I'm going to give you two answers because I feel like it's really hard to go between the old series and the new series with it. In the new series, it's Bill Potts, the final companion of Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor. She was so fun. I really loved getting to see this, ordinary lady who is just like making chips at a university while really wanting to actually be a student at the university, but not being able to afford it, and then getting to go on all these adventures. She was great. I really loved Bill. And in the old show, I really loved Zoe with the second Doctor. She was this little math genius who snuck onto the TARDIS because she really wanted to go on adventures. And
just
she
like
was just
Clara.
like very yeah, she was very spunky and different for the time. Obviously some of the writers, because it was the 60s, did not go with how they'd established her, and would write her as a peril monkey, and but when she was written well, Zoe was just one of the most amazing characters.
And I think there's so many characters I haven't given a chance in Doctor Who, just because I went back to season 1, and I was like, I'm gonna start from the beginning, become like a true blue Doctor Who fan, and I couldn't. It was just so far back for what I'm used to. It just was too challenging for me.
No, I mean, and it is like a big difference. Like, it was just a whole different way of making television. Because like the early Doctor Who is shot like almost like it's a stage play or like a soap opera, because it's just limited. They have the set number of cameras that they switch the shots between. They never move the camera around.
Yeah. Yes, Alec, we are always guessing.
Oh, I forgot you were drawing. I was so busy talking. Oh, that's is that the Jagraphos?
Yes, you and Audix got it at the same time. Nice job.
Hey,
this is from, if I can remember, this is that news channel in the sky, and when you get fired, you get taken to the Jagraphos and fed to it, and they have to keep it really cold up in the control center, otherwise it'll die.
Yeah, and Simon Pegg says a bunch of witty dialogue.
I remember it from
The Long Game.
Yeah, is it the Waters of Mars? No, that's different. That's completely different.
It's from The Long Game in series 1.
But I remember it from when they go back with David. No, Chris Eccleston is when I first saw it. Okay, we got time for a few more. Let me see.
All right.
That's too easy.
This time I won't get distracted and just be talking, and I'll actually look at what you're doing again.
Okay, here we go. No, I was trying to go under the radar so I could keep drawing, but maybe you wouldn't know right away. Okay, this is a little good.
Well, you worked.
Harder.
You misdirected me. Oh.
Okay. Sorry, podcast listeners. This is really boring for you.
Oh yeah. Hey there, podcast listeners.
How's it going? How's your day going, huh?
With Harry's razors. Yeah.
Not sponsored yet.
Try our code Boser at checkout for 10% off and a 3-week trial.
You can try. Literally try. See what happens.
Is that Davros?
Gee! Yes.
Hey!
Nice job. With his.
Woo!
His cool leather coat. But then his Dalek body.
Dalek body.
Eliminate.
Oh,
Terminate.
back when I was, able to do conventions because there had not been a global pandemic that had destroyed conventions.
Oh yeah?
There was this one girl who went to a couple cons. I always loved seeing her because she made a Devros cosplay with her electric wheelchair.
Cool.
And so, she'd worked the controls on her wheelchair into the console that he had. It was so cool. Every time she came down the aisle, I was always just like, yes!
And I love when people are just making a full Dalek. I've seen that drive around. Or I've seen a Dalek but painted like R2-D2. It's just the best combination of nerdy stuff.
Absolutely.
Oceana says, I've never seen Doctor Who, so I have no idea what to guess, but I'm impressed by knowledge just because there are so many characters in that series. Impressed by your knowledge. I have to go back. Is that because you're going to say his eyebrows, Alec? That's why. Alec said, that can't be Boser because my drawing had eyebrows. Oh yeah? Then what are these, Alec? What are these? Ooh, I don't remember this one. But maybe if I draw it, you'll help me remember.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Do this. Let's go.
Just me and this man of flame.
You know, I wish I could draw as well as you can. I'm not this good.
I wish I could write as well as you can. Wait, now I can't find it. I lost it. I had my reference photo that now I can't find. Oh, okay, here. I found it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Do you have any idea what this is meant to be?
Not yet.
I'm not even doing this justice, I bet.
Right now it looks... I feel like, is this a beholder from D&D?
It kind of looks like a beholder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how to make it more helpful. It's a hand with an eye in it, says Alec. No. Prisoner Zero? No. Wait, I don't think so.
Oh, Prisoner Zero is a good guess, though.
If I wasn't doing this on a computer, it would be a little easier to give some detail. A track seat? No. A snake thing? No. Big ol' eye in the sky? No. That's not meant to look like an eye. Sorry. Is it Gandor from Zelda? Yes!
Oh.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Let me see if I can give you a hint as far as season.
Okay. All right.
It's from a Christmas special
Okay.
from Doctor Who 2014. So I said I was going to keep it to the realm that your poem's written in, but I guess I lied. Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget? No.
Oh, it's the mine crab. Is it the mine crab?
Yeah!
The dream crab.
Dream crab! Yes, a dream crab, full name, Cantrofari.
Cantrofari. Oh.
Cantrofari? I don't know. Is that it?
Cantrofari.
Can I copy and paste? Let me see if I can copy and paste pictures into this. This is what I was trying to draw. I can't. Not in this free online program I found online. What? I can't just do all the things? Why am I doing it on here when I have, like, everything
you should
at my
ask for your money
disposal?
back.
I will. Hold on, I want to show you what it's supposed to look like. While I'm looking for that, Jim, it's been so great having you tonight.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I've enjoyed this, like, so much. I mean, just getting to see you again has been great. My goodness.
Honestly, that was what I was most looking forward to. The Geek Out Sesh was secondary.
Yeah.
By the way, on the screen is what I was trying to draw.
Yeah.
That looks more familiar now, doesn't it?
Yeah. I see it.
Audex says, maybe y'all can collaborate on a project of writing and drawing. I could draw your next cover art with this program, and I think that's it. I think that's going to sell some books.
Yeah. I think with just like money right in the hand there.
Do you know that bullshit we were talking about earlier? How like don't do it for money? Scratch that. This is the plan.
Oh yeah, no, we're making bank.
Hell yeah. But you guys, if you have enjoyed Jim's talks or his writing or even the quick blurbs that he was reading from his books, then please use Command Jimbo and go check out his books. At the very least, go find a way you can support him on his Patreon to continue, because he is out here doing what so many want to do. He's taking his passion for writing and his passion for geeky shit and sci-fi and mashing together and carving a life and a career. And for that, we are all so proud of you. And as a personal sleepover buddy and Legos in the basement and my first TTRPG and Star Fox until not sleeping at all, I am so proud of you.
I'm so glad to be here. We've both really come real far. Let's give yourself some credit here too, along with me. Like, I saw how far you came. You worked your butt off, and you gone great places yourself. So, but yeah, thank you.
Save your compliments for after the stream, Jim. Wow. Okay. And if you guys enjoyed tonight's Geek Out Sesh, then we do this every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard here live on the Twitch, and you can join the conversation as you have heard so many people do with us tonight. Of course, you can always watch it back on YouTube or check it out on podcast. So if you didn't catch the full episode tonight, you can find it there tomorrow on Wednesdays the following day. And then, of course, on Wednesdays also happening, T will paint minis and rant about all the shit that goes on in the world and geek out with all of you, and it's just your time to chat. But I think tomorrow he's actually going to be doing some digital art stream because he's got a graphic novel in mind and he can't get it out, so he needs to express it and work on it on stream with all of you. And then Thursdays are our ongoing TTRPG campaign, which is City of Mist. And for the foreseeable future, for now, we just began. It's this amazing new TTRPG set in a mystery noir metropolis where everyone is the host of a mythological and legendary mythos, powers included. So come back right here on 4 Geeks by Geeks every week, and then you can always geek out with us every day on our social media or join the Discord and become part of the family. And let's not let this geeky conversation end just because the stream is coming to a close. Whew! My ear itches. That's how you know that it's time to end. And we have to get our raid started. So unless somebody else has a suggestion for a raid, I'm going to get one started. Jim, you had a good time?
I had a great time. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you once again. We have kind of a tradition, how we end every episode here on 4 Geeks by Geeks. I'm going to say my name, then you're going to say your name, and then we're going to say, and you just keep geeking out. Okay. Are you ready?
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Well, until next time, I am Boser.
I'm James Wylder.
And you just keep geeking out.